Welcome back to TMI with Teryl and Martha. It is so great to be here today. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe and follow us in the comments and let us know what you think. We always want you to do that. And Teryl, I'm so excited about who we have here with us today.
I know, me too. This is my longtime friend, Michael Reins. He is a life coach, and he's called Coach Reins by those that work with him and
that's
coaching.
my professional moniker.
Yeah,
Right.
Coach Reins. And so, I've known Michael for a long time. We have a lot of very similar thought processes in our life. We've worked on the Alliance, the Holistic Healthcare Alliance together. I'm still pulling that together. That's
Good.
not done.
Good for you.
And so, anyway, I wanted him on the show for a multitude of reasons. One, because I care about you, and you were just joking about me being a teacher, and yes, I'm always trying to teach, and I have so much to learn as well from you. But Michael is an amazing soul to learn from himself, and he's got lots of information to share with us. So I'm going to let you tell everybody about Martha, who you are and what you do and why you're here.
Okay. Well, thank you, Teryl.
You're welcome.
And Martha, I'm happy to be here and been looking forward to the conversation. So what I can say simply, I think, is that my work sits at the intersection of coaching and wellness and stress reduction. So I work with people who are stressed,
The world.
perhaps overwhelmed, perhaps at a crossroads in their life and they're not sure which direction to take. What I do find is that people often know what they should be doing, but they're just not getting traction. So I help them stay calmer in the face of stress, to really get clear on what matters in their life, right? And then to prepare a plan to take action, on
Right.
the next step. And I say that because the next step is a bite at a time, and that's important because people get overwhelmed just trying to do too much at
Trying to
once.
eat the whole
You
elephant.
understand that, right?
Yes.
So whether we're talking about life coaching or wellness strategies or
Right.
tools like EFT tapping, it all comes down to the same question for me. How do we help people move from reactivity to clarity to meaningful action? And I
Right.
think that's what's distinctive about the coaching conversation.
So how'd you get into this?
Gosh, I don't. It's a long story, but I was in California. I was a psychotherapist. Did a lot of family therapy. I worked with federal agencies. Did a lot of different things, and I got involved with a group that had a really different point of view in terms of the conversation for how therapy happens, and it was real similar to coaching. And I sat in the chair a lot, and my back hurt. So I knew I needed some
He
diversity
was dealing.
in
Isn't
my
that how we all
activities.
start? We have our own problem, and then
Of
it
course,
moves
yeah,
us.
yes.
Yeah.
So coaching made a lot of sense, and so I started my series of coaching trainings and started doing that. Yeah. So it was a natural progression from psychotherapy to a specialized form of conversation of therapy to life coaching, and that's how I got there.
So, and you grew up in Gainesville.
I did.
And then went to California.
Yes.
And then what brought you back?
Well, big life transitions, and coming home made a lot of sense with friends and family. And I'll jump ahead just a little bit because one of the steps that I work with in a strategy is vision. So I looked at what my needs were the best. And I have family here. I've got friends. I have several groups monthly that I've one group with a bunch of Gainesville high school buddies, right?
They're all here. A
Yeah.
lot of them are here. Yeah,
You know,
still here.
I've known them for 70
years, yeah.
Yeah.
60 years,
Yeah.
right? Longer, because some of them just grew up in the neighborhood, and it's just precious.
Yeah.
So it fit in a lot of ways. So I compared it to my vision, right? Does that fit my vision for my life? Check. Yeah, it does. So vision becomes a way to make decisions, big decisions, life decisions like that.
I feel like that could be so helpful, don't you, for people that are just stuck in between?
Well, and I think life is just kind of a series of those things.
Big decisions,
Actually,
yes.
you know, when
Yeah.
I from about 2014 to 2020, just before COVID, I was working for first Senator Perdue and then Governor Kemp, and so I had an office in Atlanta. I was driving to Atlanta, you know, several days a week, and my health was terrible and I hated it, and I would be crying in the car, you know, as I was going, because I loved the work I was doing. This is a common theme with me. I loved the work I was doing, but it just was, the driving was just killing me, literally.
So how did you recognize that the driving is literally killing you? I mean, what'd you notice?
Well, I had an opportunity that came up. Well, I gained a lot of weight, number one. Gained a lot of weight riding in the car for that many years. Yeah. And then I had an opportunity. My old boss from WDUN called me up, and, you know, I think it's a God thing. You know, God tapped me on the shoulder and he said, man, we'd love to have you back, and you know, that kind of thing. Because when I left WDUN in 2012 to run for Congress, or 2011, it was a little bit like a divorce, because it's a family-owned business, and I left and I went to competition for a period of time, and then it was a little bit uneasy for a while, even though there was nothing hostile about it. I mean, for years, you know, I had told my boss that, you know, if you don't ask for time, I won't ask for money, but there'll come a point where I'll need more money and things will have to be different, you know. And so but it still was difficult. And then over
was
time,
there an event or something that happened? I'm not referring to that, but how else did you? Do you remember coming to a place where you went, gee, I need to make a change?
Yes, yes. And then this opportunity came up, and it's 15 minutes from my house instead of a drive in traffic. And I was like, okay, this is really good.
Yes.
And so with that also is I started seeing, there's a therapist here in town that does women in transition. And ironically, she was a babysitter of mine back when she was a kid. She's a grown-up now, you know, and so I started talking to her about how to make this transition, because I am a person that, you know, like fills myself up. And then has to quit everything.
I think transitions were some of the more challenging and difficult periods to go through for so many reasons.
Yes, for so many reasons.
It's stressful, fear comes up.
Yep.
Lots of things going on. Yep. Yeah. So clarity is real important.
It is important.
Like that, right? So what's my life about? How do I make decisions about what I'm doing and spend my time? The relationships I'm in, the community that I'm in. Yeah.
Well, and how do you do what is best for you and not overweigh all the other factions in your life, what your kids want you to do, what your husband wants you to do. All that stuff's important.
Trying not to be too selfish in the process, although you have to think of self in order to make a change.
Absolutely.
It's a balancing act.
So I think we go through I say all that to say you know, every few years, I think you have a transition that you have to go through, especially at our age. You know, it's one of those things.
How about every day?
How about every day? That's right.
Good, Michael.
Something comes at me every day, it seems like, right?
True.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Which can be exciting, too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I had a heart attack on February 5th, and right before that, and it's, again, I think God knew what was coming. I don't think God made it happen, but God knew it was coming. And I had this consulting job that paid really well, but I just didn't feel like my heart wasn't in it. No pun intended. And so I called the person and I said, look, this is no reflection on you, but I just don't feel like you're using me to my best abilities. I feel guilty taking your money every month. Why don't you take this money and use it for XYZ, and then you and I will part friends, and I'll help you any way I can, but not, you know, with a paid and with a list and you know, all that kind of stuff. And so he thought it was a great idea. I thought it was a great idea. And so then it was like 2 weeks later, I had this heart attack. And I think there was this, you know, there was a little voice, you know, I think it's God warning you, but that's, you know, that's what happened.
So you heeded the warning.
I heeded the warning.
Good.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
Yes.
Could have been worse.
It's harder to tune into those sorts of things, I think, when we're stressed a lot, you know, because our perspective narrows, we don't see things as clearly. So when a message comes like that around, you don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
Right? You want to have the frame of mind, you know, to take it and look at it and chew on it a little bit and see if it fits in. Well, again, with your vision and with your values, which is another part of this, the coaching that I do is, you know, the vision gives you the clarity, but the value is what drives it, right? How your activities, how do you demonstrate these values in your life?
Yeah.
And I think he's so good at vocalizing the steps and creating, and that's where I think you were so helpful in the initiation process and trying to get the Alliance, the Holistic Healthcare Alliance going. Was he would put forth to anybody that was going to be involved, what's the vision? What action steps are you going to have? Where are you going to take this? What are you going to do with it? Just real reasonable steps. So I think, a lot of people really don't know what life coaching is, and why would I get a life coach? I think I'm doing okay. I'm breathing every day, so I'm alive. So why do I need a coach? But I think it's a different type of therapy. It's more of, kind of helping someone to organize their plan to like you said, go through the changes.
So be clear about what matters most, right? And then manage that stress.
Right.
Yeah. And then get a plan, real steps, for the next actions.
So let's talk about managing those stress and managing the steps, because these are the things that are very relevant to Martha and I both right now, but I can imagine the entire world if they could tune into, what have you got to say about that, Coach Mike? I mean,
you've had a recent experience with a new stress approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
so tell me what's been your experience in terms of noticing lower stress or the metrics that you're following?
One of the things I'm doing, and I was just telling Martha this prior to the show starting, is that I've kind of gone full circle back to some of the things that I began with when I opened up to learning other things, right? Always wanted to pray, to journal, to do those things. And I was always very, not to say religious about it, but I was, I would do those things all the time. But I needed another level of support because I was still stressed, So what is the definition of insanity? Is when you keep doing the same things.
Well, but then you get stressed because you're thinking, I got to do this.
Results.
Yeah, I got to do this. I got to do this. And that creates its own stress.
So you need to find different techniques if you're doing the same thing and getting different results and getting the same results, right? Same thing, you're doing the things and you're not getting any different results.
So you found some support.
So I did. And so the HeartMath was very interesting. And back then I used the heart rate monitor, and there was a video. It was an old school video game for the computer.
Yeah.
And you would actually have this, on the computer, you'd have a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And your job was to get that hot air balloon to rise and to get up over the mountains, right? Not crash into the mountains.
Yeah, I had a lot of hours of
Did
steering
you?
that balloon.
Yeah. So the hot air balloon, you would learn to just deep breathe and just slow down and just calm the mind. And the better you were able to become coherent and there's a brain-heart connection there. And I want to talk more. And the reason I sent you the video before the show was I wanted you to be a little alert to what I was going to have Michael talk about, which are the neurons, the similar neurons in the brain and the heart that exist.
What I find most interesting about the heart rate variability metric and the HeartMath approach is the rhythm, because it's not just in and out. There's a rhythm to it. The rhythm makes a difference.
That you gain control
over.
The
rhythm then
really
influences your heart rhythm. It's heart rhythm variability. It's different. It changes.
Right.
So with your breathing, you can change that, but you change it in a way that it's steady. So if you're looking at a curve, it's not like this, right? It's not. The peak to peak is the same, and the length between each
It's a
peak
beautiful
is the same,
change,
right?
and you feel it when you're done. You feel like you've oxygenated your body. You feel like you've put yourself vagus nerve. Everything is just kind of in a state of
all your cells start to
bliss.
have the same rhythm.
Yeah.
Right. That's the coherence.
It's wonderful. Right. So the game just teaches you how to do it in a very practical way, right? And the HeartMath app, I can sit down on my lawn and watch the dogs and put my finger on the camera, and it will read my pulse, which is, and it'll have me, they'll show you the thing and have you work with it and try to keep yourself in the optimal, put yourself in the optimal range of coherence, and then it grades you. And of course, as we've talked about, I hate not passing, right?
Yes,
I am going for the A.
Yeah, but you want to do better, don't you? You want a better grade, right?
I want that good
Yeah.
grade.
That's why
So
the
I'm
metrics
practicing
work, yeah.
every day. I'm like, I'm going to beat
That's
that
right.
rhythm yesterday.
That's
I'm going to go for a better rhythm. But it's
Just sounds like
fun.
another level of stress for me.
It's not stressful.
But it feels good.
It feels
Okay,
so good.
good.
Yeah. What is that bear
scratching
scratching his back on the tree with the
Yeah.
T-shirts that said, "If it feels good, do it." You
Right,
remember
right,
those?
right.
It was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so I worked with that, and I've worked with I want Michael to talk about the neurons, the components of the heart and brain. I want you
Well,
to
let me just,
explain more.
that's just, I mean, really pretty simple there.
A lot of people don't know
Well,
that.
it's the same type of cell in your heart. What HeartMath started saying, they started talking about the heart brain. There's a brain in your heart. Mm-hmm. Same sort of cells that are in the brain in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you can manage what's that signal that's being sent because you control the rhythm of your breathing,
Right.
right? And that message of that rhythm and that coherence and working together is transmitted not just to your brain or the rest of your body, but to people around you as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
You ever walked up to someone, you got a kind of a prickly feeling or a nice smooth feeling?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
hard to tell the difference,
Yeah,
right?
we're all gifted
Yeah,
that
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
That's coming off your heart, right? Your heart rhythm.
Yeah, it's a
it's
field that
powerful in a lot of ways.
extends beyond us. that our heart
Oh,
puts
sure, a
out.
few feet out. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly just, standing next to sitting here.
And some people, honestly, are just more sensitive to those things than others. Some people, we're all built differently, and it's a beautiful thing. We're not all supposed to be cookie cutter carbon copies of each other, right? I mean, a bunch of Barbie dolls walking around. Hello, how are you? But
So you mentioned, something else to do is stressful. And
Yeah.
so what I coach people to do is one next step.
Yeah.
Because people try to do the whole thing.
too much, too soon.
One thing, there's a coaching story.
Right.
How do you eat an elephant? You may know the answer to this. You know how to
Yes.
eat an elephant?
One bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time.
That's
One
right.
step at a time.
Right.
Right. And then you get feedback and you take the next step after that.
Well, and the whole stress reduction thing is I agree with you 100%. It's about what your values are, about what your priorities are. And it's funny, I've been saying a lot on the radio show lately that we just weren't built to care about everything that happens in the world all the time.
No.
And when you and I were kids, you might catch a little bit of the Today Show in the morning and you might
True
see
that.
15 minutes of news at night.
Absolutely.
But other than that, you didn't think about what was
It
going
wasn't
on in the
24
world.
hours a day exposure.
Yeah, and that
to,
you were expected to have an opinion. And I mean, I'm expected to have an opinion because of what I do.
Yeah.
But people kind of expect it from everyone.
Yes.
And then, what do you think about this or that? And I was teaching a Sunday school class this weekend, and I could really see the silos. Because the question, the silos of information, meaning who was getting their
Where they got
information
it
where,
from.
where they got it from.
Yeah.
And I just think that what I've been advising people to do, and I need to take my own advice too, is that I can't control everything that's happening in the world.
Yeah.
But you can find out why they're going to start charging for parking on the square, or
Yeah.
you can, take care of your family, or you can do those things that are kind of in your world,
Right.
not in the rest of the world. Does that make sense?
It does. And you told me one step that you were taking with your phone to manage that overflow of information and the overwhelm, which makes it harder to be clear, in any endeavor.
Yep. I take it when I get home and I put it in the kitchen just like it's an old school phone extension. And then I might answer it if I hear it at night, if it's somebody I want to talk to, but I generally try to just leave
Right.
it, that's the end of my day, and
I
just
think
put it
that's
in there.
big. So
Yeah.
what's been the effect? From
It's
that?
been pretty positive. It was a little weird the first couple of days, because you're used to having it right there and checking
Yeah,
all
sure.
the time, and all of that. But and I love information. Information is great, but
It's important
It's too
sometimes.
much,
So,
and
It's
so what have
overload.
you enjoyed about that absence, that periodic absence of information?
well, just having more time to spend with my husband and
Okay.
actually, be doing something together or talking to each other.
Yeah.
The weather's getting nice now,
Face
so
to
we
face.
spend a lot of time out on the deck, just
Yeah.
kind of like, but
Enjoying.
not being like two pre-teenagers looking at their phones all the time, which is what was happening,
Yeah.
and you don't want to do that.
People get it. I mean, they really don't understand when they're doing it. I was watching my My husband the other day, I was laughing at him, and he knows I talk about him on the show, so sorry about that. But
It's okay.
he watches the shows. That's a good thing.
He should.
So anyway, he was doing something. He was walking around. He was supposed to be walking with the dog, and he was all in his phone. I'm thinking, what in the world?
Yeah, that does terrify me. All the people that walk around
with their head
phones
down.
They're not even looking where they're
Where they're
crossing the
going.
street.
There's a
They're
book
not.
about that. You remember that?
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's it
no.
called?
1984.
That's
Oh.
right. Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, my
You're
gosh.
absolutely
They're
right.
walking around with their instruments. Right?
And then
That's right.
then I was
Yeah.
laughing at him. He's sitting at his desk in his office, and he had the computer on like a YouTube, and then he was sitting in there, and he was physically looking at his phone, but his computer was on a YouTube. His office is not that big, and I couldn't help but say something. I'm behind the counter, and I'm like, what exactly are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, this show is about a car, and while I'm listening to this, I'm Googling the car on my phone, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, and and the
Where
thing
are
that
we?
drives me crazy is you sit in a room with people and they look up what you said and
Oh,
see if you're correct.
They're
Oh,
fact
hey.
checking
Oh, my
you
God.
right then and there.
So we got to stop that too. We got to get back to more human interaction.
I believe that
it's
will
what we've
help.
got to do.
Yeah.
So
We can't look at the box all the time.
So you just gave a great example of doing that by turning
Mm-hmm.
your phone off, and you've got into a lot more human action with your family, with your
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
That's fast. That's bold. That's great.
Yeah.
Don't you
Thank
think?
you. Thank
That's
you.
a great example.
Thank you. Yeah,
Good job.
I keep working on it,
So-
and it is a step by step kind of thing, because you think about things like I'm taking this cross country trip with my daughter. She's moving to Arizona, and it's right at my Super Bowl, which is primary night. You know, because I'm a political person, but it's more
That's your
important for
daughter.
me to be with her than it is to be at primary night.
right.
Yeah,
Wow.
They'll get along without
You know
me.
what that says to your daughter? It says, I'm a priority and
Yep.
she loves me. That's what it says to your daughter. And it builds that connection with her.
yeah,
Whether they accept us having jobs and having to go do the things we have to do, when they fall secondary to those things,
yeah.
they understand, but their heart still feels the pull of the, wow, I get it, Mom. I know you have to go do this, but they still feel the absence of you not being there. So
Yeah. So that reminds me what I said before about figuring out what really matters.
right.
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 Human relationships really matter. Mm-hmm. So we have to protect that. We have to design our lives in a way that happens. Right.
Correct. So let's talk about, I want to do a little explanation for everybody watching the show or listening about EFT. Michael I have done some work with him in the senior, what was it, like a senior
center. And
and we did some work with him, and man, was that fabulous. Some people had actually done it before, but this group of seniors, I would love to go into where your father-in-law is and maybe
Yeah.
do some work there with them. We do a little seminar, and it's a great talk that he does. And he actually takes them through a couple of the tapping.
we do it.
Yeah, we go through the
we do
tapping
it.
techniques, and they actually literally can see from one step to the other. Their anxiety or concerns or worries drop. So it's so fascinating, but it did worlds of good for me. You have to, before you just believe something, right? You can't just blindly believe things just because someone tells you something. You've got to experience it. You got to understand it, and you've got to first open yourself up to the understanding, and then you've got to physically experience it some way or another.
Well, sure. I think real knowledge comes from experience.
Right.
But let's-
Otherwise, it's just information.
Let's back up
otherwise.
a little bit, because you're throwing around EFTs. and-
Energy field
and-
therapy.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
That's right, good.
So EFT is called energy field therapy. I first came across it in the
EFT,
90s.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
there's
he's
there's
the
a
expert.
lot of
Right.
variations
Yeah,
of it. Right.
yeah.
So it's known by a lot of names. So
Right. Well, I was calling it that because
Yes.
Dr. Roger Callahan wrote a book, and back in the 90s when I was working as a personal trainer, I used the technique to help people get out of their own way relative to even just pushing a weight. Like, I would know that their physical capacity was able to do it, but mentally something was blocking them from being able to lift the proper amount of weight. So I would work in trying to help them clear their field, right? That field that extends. And I came across that book by Dr. Roger Callahan called Tapping Your Way to Health. Yes.
Thought-filled therapy.
Yeah, thought-filled therapy. So you take it away from there, because you are the expert. You are really amazing.
Well, I've heard Roger Callahan, and he wanted a lot of money for his training, an extraordinary amount of money back,
I bet he
back
did.
around the turn of the century. And I was just starting my therapy practice.
I love that,
was
the
in-
turn of the century.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we are 26 years in. so
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I was flipping through a professional magazine one day, and I was particularly interested because I had some considerable back problems, and I was in regular chiropractic care, and I had been for years, and it was a drain. It was hard.
Pain is
And
bad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It saps you, right, in so many ways. Anyway, I opened the magazine, and I saw this full-page color ad in this professional magazine by this thing by a fellow named Gary Craig, and he was describing this process that looked exactly like Roger Callahan's work. And he called it emotion freedom techniques and
EFT.
EFT.
Okay.
And he says, well, all you got to do is download it. It's free. The whole thing, videos, everything to
That's
show
the
you
way
how
to
to
go.
do it, right? I went, that's my guy, right?
Right.
And so I went home that evening and laid in my bed. My back was hurting as it normally did. And I had printed out the manual. And I started in, and I was just going through as quick as I could, doing all this tapping and saying and doing crazy stuff.
It
What
seems
in the
weird.
world?
You would be very uncomfortable at first because it's very strange.
Well, it's
tapping and humming and
it's
all the
ancient
above.
Chinese medicine,
Okay.
right? And I can tell you the story about that of someone, a woman who was in China, and she learned it as Neigong, right?
Okay.
She actually accused
Them of stealing
Gary
it.
Craig of stealing it
Yeah.
from Neigong, right? Same process. So it's the same
Yeah.
process. There's a lot of ways to go about it. Anyway, so I started tapping, and laying in bed, I felt this warmth at the base of my spine, right? And it started moving up my spine and over my head, and I just felt relaxed all over, something that was very unusual for me.
Right.
Now, I've been going to chiropractic for years, right?
Right.
Next day, I went to my chiropractor again. He did the adjustment. He says, hardly needed an adjustment today. He'd never said anything like that before. And so I knew,
No, they never say anything like
No,
that.
they don't.
well, that's what I was told, and I could feel the difference,
That's
before I was
amazing.
there.
Yeah.
And so, that was my positive experience with EFT, and so I pursued it and, followed the training and practice of that.
I mean, I think pain is one of those really painful subjects because, you get past a certain age. My husband used to always say, if you get past 40, half the people have back pain. You get past 50,
Yes.
2/3 of the people have back pain. Get past 60, everybody does, And it's maybe not every day, all day.
Right.
But we've just seen,
You have little pains here
an
and there.
incident of a very famous person that is dealing with
Yes.
pain situations
And yes.
because of surgery and problems. Tiger Woods, I'm talking about.
Yes.
And, not only did he get behind the wheel of a car impaired
bad
by taking
decisions.
these pain medicines, but he had 2 loose ones in his pocket, which what that means. At some point in the day,
was gonna take those.
Of course.
he was going
Yeah.
to take them. That's just the only reason why you'd have them loose in your pocket, right? And so pain can take over,
It controls
for you.
your
And
every thought.
I have arthritis. My mother had arthritis. My grandmother had arthritis, and I've learned through yoga and tai chi and just movement how to manage that pain, because I can't pop Advil all day every day.
No.
It's not good for you, and it doesn't really help.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you've got to figure out other ways to manage it.
So the EFT, one of the beauties about EFT is repeatable.
Yes.
And I can tell you lots of stories. But an athlete who had
Yeah,
a lower abdomen
it's
injury
traceable.
and he wasn't healing, 2 sessions, his pain was 5% of what was
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
right? Now, other things you can use it for too. Any disruption in the natural flow of our energy system in our bodies, like fear, for example. I worked with a guy who was working down at Fort Mason in San Francisco. It was a federal job, and he was cleaning up underneath the buildings, right, some restoration and stuff. Terrible fear of spiders, a spider phobia.
Oh, wow.
He was going home and hallucinating
About
in bed,
spiders.
crawling
on
across the floor and over on top of him, right? So I saw him. He's referred, through his EAP, and we did 2 visits. The first one, I did the EFT with him and taught him to do it, and he came back and a week later, and I said, well, did you see spiders? He said, no, didn't see any. I've gone back to work now.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's
just like
really
that.
using energy meridians of the body. Wouldn't you say that's the best?
Sure. Yeah.
That's the ancient. That's
like
the Chinese
it's like the
medicine
circuitry,
component.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the wiring in your house, and just like the wiring in your house, you have circuit breakers. If you get an overload from an overwhelm, from a step, some abrupt physical, jolt or something like that, and those circuits pop open. Well, guess what? You can reset them just like you can in the circuit board. It's like that.
Just literally tapping.
You tune into the
different
issue, so you
spots,
set up
like
that
here?
pattern, right? The memory or the pain in the moment. So you set up the pattern, and that kind of activates the system, and then you tap on these circuit breakers and reset them, and then it mostly just goes away.
It
Not
does.
all the time, obviously, but remarkably quick, and most often lasting.
Yeah. Like not coming back ever kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, people have been like, I've never had a problem with this situation again after doing it. But it's simple, it's practical, you can find it on YouTube, right?
Sure.
You can find it anywhere. You can just Google it and you can read about it because there's some good backing behind it. And it'll even show you some mapped out components. Social media will have it as well, but it'll have mapped out components of certain rhythms and patterns of where to tap. You might sit there feeling silly because I remember the first time I did it, I was like, I sure hope I'm sitting out on a bench in my front yard in Fort Myers, Florida, and it was a neighborhood with a kind of a circle cul-de-sac and nicer houses, people that were pretty conservative, and I'm out in the front yard going. And I'm humming,
And
Happy
singing.
Birthday.
Right, singing, yes.
And I'm doing all these. And I thought, oh, please don't come down the street while I'm doing, because I was a little skeptical at first too. But I had seen it work.
So from a coaching point of view, it's really, really elegant because if you can't make good decisions, you can't have clarity and move ahead in your life because you're just overwhelmed and stressed, to have something like this that's largely reliable and quick and, certainly pretty easy to do.
You can do it in your car.
It's a great little
Martha.
tool, to move ahead in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's my kids.
fun.
The grandkids can do it. The cool thing about it is you can like circle time. I do circle time.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get the grandkids and we'll sit around, and they just love it.
Really?
But
That's
you're
great.
helping them reset their own nervous
What do they
system.
say about what's happening for them? I mean, they
Oh,
like it, right? What
yeah.
do they say?
They want to do it whenever I get
But
a chance.
when they've done it, they realize something
they
happened.
feel like Saren's like, I can fly,
Ah.
like silly little things,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And Luca's a superhero, so it's like they both come, are like, okay, now let's go play on that playground, let's go to the swing set because they
You
love
see a
it.
change in their demeanor.
Absolutely. And, my granddaughter's going through it, with her parents there's been a divorce in that family. So it's like any chance I can get to help reset her rhythms and help her to learn how to self-regulate is basically what it is. It's a self-responsibility, self-regulation process to get your body under control, because our minds usually, we feel like we've got this, especially you and I, the kind of women we are. We're like, got this, stinks sometimes, but we got this. But it's the way to actually get the subconscious also in tune with the rest of it. That's how I was able to kind of see it, is even if they don't really know exactly what I'm doing with them, they're learning the points and they're learning some of the different things. And even the humming which we talked about with our last guest,
Yes.
about how it resets the vagus nerve. I've got them to where they'll just every now and then they'll be watching cartoon. They'll come and sit down and I'll let them watch a show, because I'm grandma's house. They get maybe a little more TV time at my house. Not a lot.
But
not
they
a
get
lot.
good stuff too, like tapping.
Might get no.
Huh?
Caffeine? Did you
No,
say?
tapping.
Oh, tapping.
No.
Tapping. But we'll do the tapping. And so I can see them kind of go, and they're looking up at their little show and they're just doing it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay. If I leave this world tomorrow, I've given them some tools to help them to, move on and become healthy adults and learn how to manage their emotions. And because that is a big thing. I mean, how many people in the world today do we come across that are grown adults, but they have no ability to manage their emotions?
Well, I approach
emotionally
those
immature.
times, and I'd love to explore it more, the tapping side of it. But what I do is I always think that I do a more of a verbal kind of thing where I say, "Get thee away from me, Satan."
Yeah.
And when my head is kind of going in circles, and
Right.
I just say it out loud, and for me it works.
Yeah.
It clears my head. But I'm sure I'm sure there's another explanation for it other than faith. But
faith is amazing.
faith is a big part of it.
Yes. Yeah. No,
And I-
So that's a good self-help technique.
Yes.
We're talking about how can we help ourselves feel better, think better, more clearly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we can have the things that we want in our lives and
Exactly.
relationships. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And
There's
that
a
works.
lot of them. Yeah, but
You
these
know?
are particularly powerful.
So I want to back up to the HeartMath.
Okay.
Okay. So because we kind of touched over that.
We
Tell
did.
me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that.
Well, Teryl explained it pretty well. It's based on the breathing, and you control the breathing, and you can control your heart rhythm. And that rhythm is what will set the tone, set the pace for these systems in your body.
Right. And the idea is to smooth it out.
Yeah, and get
Well,
it.
The idea is to make it variable but even, like I
Right.
said, right? So,
Not
so
spiked
the
or-
measurement is heart rate variability. And you'll see a wave on the screen.
And
Right? So there's a peak, and there's a trough, and then there's another peak. So when those peaks are the same across the top and across the bottom, and the distance between each peak and from trough to trough is the
Similar.
same, that's calmness, right? That's calmness.
At a physiological
That's mental
state.
clarity. That's going to open up energy that you can feel, because it's a relaxation. The stress moves out of your muscles. Right?
Yes.
It's replaced with
Yes.
that calmness, so you can feel the
Okay.
energy like that.
I think you would really actually use that tool. Ditch another couple of apps and put that one on, right?
Okay. That's fair.
There
because
is a little. Well, I don't know. They don't make it anymore. They have a little handheld one too that will just give you a color on it. Well, you don't have to have an app.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can use it. You
Right.
could use one of their
Y-
tools that they
Okay.
sell on their
Yeah,
website.
Yeah, but the
there's a
feedback's
book,
important
too.
because it's not sensitive. The increments are small, to know. It's just like doing your blood pressure.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I got a sense of what it is, but here's the real numbers.
Here's-
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
you
that
could-
makes a
it's-
difference.
it's-
It gives you
your
something
husband would
to measure.
probably
Anything,
think it's pretty cool, to be honest with
what
you.
I like to say as a coach too, anything that you can measure, you can control.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm big in measuring things.
Okay.
And this is a
Yeah.
great measurement of heart rate variability, which is a metric for your stress
health.
your stress
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, and any doctor will tell you that. The heart rate variability tells you the general health of the body. If you've got a good high
Yes.
heart rate variability, that means your heart's in good shape, your body's in good shape, it's managing stress appropriately. Exercise will help with that too.
My heart rate variability goes up after every bike ride.
Yeah. Yeah, exercise helps.
So one of the metrics I do over time is heart rate variability through a different app.
Yeah.
But this morning it told me that my heart rate variability has increased steadily over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So I know I'm doing some good things for myself, right?
But
So-
let me just get this in. Even more important for you and for me, because of our my family history, your current situation, the increase of nitric oxide in the body due to the breathing and the higher heart rate variability, is hugely important to the vascules, to the vessels, to the blood vessels to dilate properly and to help with blood flow. That it's important to have decent levels of nitric oxide in the body. So it helps with that too.
Yeah. So
and the actionable one is rhythmic breathing, though.
Yes.
Rhythm and breathing.
Yeah, that's what you want to get to. But the why is, I mean, what's the problem? What matters? What do you do? What's the benefit, right? Well, the benefit is this relaxation.
Yeah.
The how-to is some sort of rhythmic way of relaxing your body.
Absolutely. So if people want to know more about you, and how could they find you?
Well, they could follow me on Coach Reins' Substack that I'm just getting started on.
Oh, good. Oh, we're all on
I like
Substack
Substack.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I do too, because that's
Yeah.
I follow a number of different Substacks.
They can
I think
find our
it's
podcast
one of
there,
the nicest
too.
platforms to work
It
with.
is.
And anyone that wants to get in touch with me directly, they can go to my website, which is coachreins.com.
Very good. That's great. Thank you so much for
Thank
being with
you.
us today.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you. And folks, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere, Facebook. But also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We want you to be a part of that. We want to hear what you think about our guests, suggestions for other guests, and we love you to be a part of the community.
We sure would. And having our guests on, I love having people like Michael come on. We saw Emily Cook talking about yoga. We are on Substack as well. I'm definitely posting these episodes on Substack. So just go out, find us, share with your friends, your family. If something we're saying touches your heart or you think one of your family members will enjoy, please, please pass the word. Coach Reins is amazing. He's here for everybody. Martha and I do this. We're on episode 40, 41 now. We love what we do, and we absolutely do believe that your wellness deserves a little oversharing.